doing well. If not, as always, I hope it gets better for you. Welcome to another Friday Night Live Q&A. Let me turn this just a little bit. And yes, so it's been a crazy week for me this week, and I just got my butt kicked. I have been putting off my yard work, which I've got 30 acres out here, and there was a hurricane, Idalia, not long ago, and had to finally catch up on that. And there was a bunch of the sand spurs down here, so I was kind of forced into it before the sand spurs matured and got all over the place. So saying that, for this week was a little rough getting some of the members footage done, so I won't have that this week. But on the good news, I'm gonna have a full on video fish room tour for you guys tomorrow. It's uploaded, it's all ready to go, and that's the good news. So kind of hard for me to shoot fish footage when I was mowing all week long. I did not realize how much mowing and work it took to take care of all this acreage. It was a bit crazy. So saying that, here I am. It's Friday night. We can catch up a little bit. Since I didn't have much footage this week, wasn't a whole lot to show you. I actually did have quite a bit in the pipeline, but when push comes to shove and you got to do certain things on timelines and with those sand spurs, I wanted to get those before they spread because they're horrible to have around your yard. Into the live chat here, but hello everybody in the chat. Glad to see y'all in here. Tons of members. Bunch of my members in here. Henry Thomas G. Carol Cox. Good to see y'all. So yeah, kind of slow rolling in here. YFI, hey, how's it going? Good evening, everyone. 39 degrees in Iowa and expecting 28 degrees. So yes, matter of fact, my Wednesday video which is already shot. It's uploaded. It's on the channel. It's an update of my outdoor aquariums, but one of the main points on that video was to remind you guys about your weather. So thank you for mentioning that, because do mind your weather if you're doing outdoor tubbing or any freshwater outdoor activities. That cold spell is coming, especially pretty chilly here this weekend, which chilly here in Florida is like 55 at night. It's still going to be 70 in the day, but 20s and 30s where you guys are, just be careful. Make sure you don't risk your fishy friends out there in that cold. And if you want to learn how to keep freshwater stuff outside and not have to deal with tearing it down and being able to keep it in winter all year round, I have had many systems in Indiana with negative 40-degree wind chill winters where it just got nasty. And it was on top of a deck, so it didn't even have the ground to help hold and insulate either. So it was just full on wind tunnel. And I managed to keep them warm, and I managed to keep them all year round without having to tear them down, which is really nice because it's kind of a pain in the butt to tear them down. I made those systems because of that, of not wanting to tear them down every winter. But the real key trick to that is just to insulate around it, bottom, sides, and then during winter time, make a top for them that'll hold the heat in. And then, of course, you're going to want heaters in them. But I got a whole playlist, so just type in LRB heated outdoor pond system or just heated outdoor pond. And you'll get tons of videos on those builds and what all I did with that. But Bill Meyer, good reminder for everybody to be mindful of their ponds outside. And as far as that outdoor aquarium update, I don't know if I'll release it Wednesday or not, because the way that YouTube algorithm works and the way it kind of pushes things, if I do a video like my fish room tour video and then I do another video right behind it, it'll kind of suffocate it kind of. So I don't know. I may do it Wednesday and or next week. But we do got lots of update videos coming up for you guys. And I got to jump back into this plumbing system this week since I lost pretty much the whole week mowing and taking care of sticks and all the debris from all the hurricane and everything. Which the hurricane was pretty kind of bad around here. Like my neighbors lost their whole garage shop. Like ripped the roof right off of it. Hey Lucas, I hope it doesn't get too cold down here this year. Haha, says Randy. I hope not either, but you know, I never thought I would really be ready for a little bit of cold, and I'm kind of looking forward to it for once in my life. Like it was a hot summer. There was so many 100-degree heat index days that I ended up working through. Like you can see my face is just completely red. Nose, everything. And then we had like this weird smoke stuff in the sky. It was a hazy for, they tried to say it was Canadian wildfires, but there was no other smoke anywhere else in the U.S. besides down here in Florida. So I don't know about all that. It's a long way for that to go without settling, you know. Yeah, worst part about owning land is mowing the property, for sure, Chris. I think hopefully I can afford by next spring to hire the neighbor to do it. He said he would do it. He's mowed it so many times because it used to be his yard. Little Mountain Life says, about to set up a 125-gallon acrylic display tank and stuck between stinker discus and Atinjo rainbow fish. Which would be the best for profit for breeding? Oh, so you want to do it for breeding? Well, if you're going to do it for breeding, the discus will definitely be better for profit breeding. You can keep, well, I don't know. I guess it is kind of, in some situations, you can keep those rainbow fish and discus in the same tanks, but there's always pecking orders, especially through disc, because they're like little water chickens and they're cichlids and they'll always have that pecking order. So just watch out for that. But yeah, discus would, if it's a nice display tank. Just watch their behavior and keep an eye on them. And Stella Cuteness, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. That is really helpful right now. Says any source for bulk antibiotics. So I actually usually go to eBay when I go looking for my antibiotics, and you can get like any of the like antibiotics that you could really think of that would be labeled for fish. There's quite a bit of different antibiotics on there. So I hope that helps you out, Stella Cuteness. Always great to see you in here, and thank you so much for the support. And that reminds me, the 10% off code is still going off on the website, and I did update the website. If you guys want to support in another way, get some guppy grass or maybe get some plants, shrimp, platinum rice fish. Just added a bunch of those on there, and everything is still going into the plumbing project right now. I feel like I did pretty good this last week, but it pretty much got thrown back into shipping supplies. It's always something when you're trying to run an operation. Cost of doing business, right? One day, y'all should see I was going to make a post that showed my shoes and how much mileage I've gotten out of them. Oh my God. But I don't know, I might still do that. I really put my shoes to work. Let me just say both my big toes are sticking out. About deal. About to set, but see, my priority is this aquarium fish room. Like, I'm just so excited to get it done. It's hard to like take that step. You guys ever had like that kind of passion? I don't know. Call me crazy. Stella Cuteness also said good tips from your parasite meds from Tractor Supply, etc. any source for bulk antibiotics. Yeah, like I mentioned, eBay. Get a robot lawnmower. It would have to be a big old robot lawnmower. So there's a mile of fencing around my property. That's how around it is. Well, Josh Hayden, I appreciate that order, and I'm glad they made it safely to you, and you like them. Yeah, those yellow Neos are crazy. I'm working on that line for a long time. And with the post office, I've seen stuff do well in there for like over a month. Like, it's crazy. We've been packing and doing this for a long time, and there's old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a little unorthodox, but it works really, really, really well, especially for the unexpected. Thomas G, what's up, my boy? Says, what life are growing in the top shelf, no tank, no light tanks? There's a lot of no tech, no light tanks. But as far as like on these 40s here, I got those up there, no tech, no light. Everything's no tech pretty much besides the ones that have light. Technically, they got some tech. But there's a lot of no light, no tech in here. There's probably, I don't know, 150 no light, no tech aquariums in here. I probably screwed up the stream by moving around. But you will be seeing everything tomorrow. All you guys will be seeing everything tomorrow. So full on fish room tour. And I squeezed it down. I think I got it close to like an hour. Maybe just a little over an hour. I squeezed quite a bit down. Then you guys will see what's growing, what's not growing, what's going, what's not going. And then you'll have Fridays to ask me questions about them and or the comments, which I got to get some of your guys' comments. I just haven't had time. It's been absolutely crazy this week. Chris Trapp says, Lucas, with no filter tanks, do you ever find they get stagnant if you don't have enough big fish to move the water? No, not really. Not really. It's kind of weird. Matter of fact, most of my aquariums don't even have a layer of biofilm on them. I think the only thing with a layer of biofilm slightly that comes time to time is on that big pond, and I think it's just because of what all's in it is just so heavy in there. But no, everything's like pretty stable and clean, clear. I don't really do much. Danny Morna, you guys this stuff, and just watch my videos. Look at what I do. Like, I'm not doing anything fancy. A lot of people think I'm doing magic. I'm not. I'm just letting it do its thing. Now, when you first start an aquarium, it may go through some phases, like, oh, it may get some diatom or green hair algae or something like that, but manually remove it, and then once that cycles through and eats whatever it ate, which usually doesn't take long either, it's usually like the first month or two, then after that, like, things are balanced. As long as you ain't doing huge water changes, then you're good to go. And if you're doing a 25% water change, even better, but I'm not even doing any of that. I can't even tell you which tanks have had a water change. The ones that have had water changes in here are the ones that have been moved. But since they haven't been moved, there hasn't really been much for water change. Now, the rope fish tank, I did water change because the hair algae in it all started dying at once, which was starting to foul up the water, and I was forced into doing a water change before anything bad happened. So aquariums will give you signs and smells. Like if your aquarium starts smelling, that's a sign that you should probably do a water change, and either something died, whether it be plant and or fish. And then dilute that and you're back in your program. But like most of the regular, like any kind of imbalances within hair algae and diatoms and stuff like that, best to just manually remove them, do a 25% water change. And if you actually do it bi-weekly, it breaks up those cycles of algae and how they just take over your aquarium. So each time you do that 25% water change each week, for some reason, it breaks up a lot of the algae issues. I think it's because of the reoxygenation of the ozone gases. Help with it. Oh, hold on. My finger was doing things that shouldn't. All right. Yeah, the keeping both the discus and rainbow fish. I've seen people do it. I've done it myself as well in a 240 gallon. So I had catfish in there. I had all kinds of stuff. Congo tetras. Oh, my arm just popped. Ah, it's super stiff right now. I have to always stretch my body out. Ever since I've been working out, my whole body's kind of like reconstituting itself. Lightmouth Mountain Life says, where's the best place to order quality Antijo rainbow fish these days? Love your videos with Gary Lang. Gary Lang is actually going to be at our club meeting coming up this month, which I'm super excited about. Hopefully I can get some eggs from him. But I would go to Aquabid actually, if possible, if you could find them, and or Dan's Fish might be able to get them. Might be a chance there. Besides that, and or Wet Tropicals. JP Jeffries, two-part question: Gambusia guppies or endless possible? Endless possible. Have hobbyists bred the rope fish or farms or all the rope fish wild caught? Thanks, Lucas. Supposedly, I think all the rope fish are wild caught. I'm sure there's probably some farm out there doing it too. You would think. I'm not 100% sure, but the person that used to work for me, Oddball Aquatics, she was a fanatic about rope fish, and I know she always mentioned they're wild caught, I think, and that they haven't really been. There may have been like a couple accidental breedings of them, so there's not a whole lot of information on them. But as far as the Gambusia crossing with Endlers, I don't think so. Now Posilias, it's different than the Gambusia. If I remember right, I believe so. I don't know that 100%. Let me just say that. Randy Coach says, I'm having a gas algae bubble problem in my father fish style aquarium with 1-inch soil to 2-inch black diamond. He never told me to get the soil wet to get all the air out first. Any recommendations? So is the gas like in your substrate? If the gas is in your substrate, it's nothing to worry about. And the algae, like having gas algae bubble problems, like it's creating more oxygenation or something, or like the algae is holding on to the gas. It's what it does. It's kind of its photosynthesis. Same with the substrate. Like you will get gases within your substrate. Matter of fact, that 240 that I had with my discus and my rainbow fish, since it was a no filter 240 gallon tank with discus, rainbow fish, catfish, all kinds of stuff. Like I've been doing this for a long time on YouTube for you guys before Father Fish has even come around. And I would even stick my hand into that substrate and it would have big enough gas bubbles. Like you could actually smell the sulfur that would come up from it. From like plant and root decaying or something, or just the natural gases. And never once. And I know some people have said that these gases will kill your fish. Well, they won't. Like I've popped them in them come up so many times in so many ways with so many sensitive fish and never had an issue with a no filter aquarium on top of that. Granted, I don't keep lids on my aquariums either. Now, if you have a lid on your aquarium, that may be a different subject, because then you could be trapping the gases in if there's not enough atmospheric exchange. So that is where you could come into a problem with that on the other side. All right. Scroll. Danny Mornay says, did you get your rice fish eggs that you ordered in? I did get those rice fish eggs a long time ago. The babies are still kind of growing up. They're still kind of small. They're starting to get some color to them and looking good. They're still 14. Eventually, I will get a... oh, I am still in top chat. Thank you, Lady LRB. I don't know why it didn't put me in live chat, or I thought it was. I don't know. But, I will do an update on that quarantine at some point for you guys, too, since obviously I'm doing a whole fish room tour, then the outside, and then, of course, the quarantine house area, which I call it that, and it's not like what you would think of regular quarantine. It's probably the fanciest quarantine system as far as a house would have. Not like really industrial looking. I actually made wood racks and made them pretty, tiled them up. Outside and Aquatic says, any tips for clown killies fish? I'm using floating and so with those guys, just having space, live food with killifish is always a good trigger. If possible, Daphnia is one of the biggest triggers for the killifish. And keep them kind of warmish, like mid-70s, 80s. I mean, mid-70s is good enough. And then just make sure they're comfortable and don't get startled a lot. And when it comes to breeding pretty much any fish, it really comes to comfortability. And then it comes to the egg hatching, that's when the water actually becomes important. If it's a softer type water fish, which clown killies, they can kind of go a little above neutral and under neutral, but if you've got their egg, and most eggs do best in neutral or softer type of hardness water. That way the babies can actually break out of the egg a lot easier. Get too hard of water, that's why it can be harder to breed some of the softer water fish in hard water. Not impossible, because sometimes there is that super fish that breaks through it. But the numbers definitely make a difference with that. So I hope that helps you out, outside and aquatics. And sometimes, like, I'm struggling with getting my fish to breed too, because sometimes it's like, you don't know where they're breeding or how they're breeding, and then it's like, oh, do I really want to disturb them? And then I start over. And then some groups, they'll just breed and breed. They won't care. Some may care. There's so many different personalities within these fish. Even if they are the same type of fish, they still do have different personalities. Mario Valesco, hope you're doing well, says, hey, Lucas, can you recommend a good linear air piston pump? I've been debating whether or not the Amazon ones are worth it. What are your thoughts? So I cannot. To me, they're all way too loud. I bought a couple of them and put them back in the box, and then I just went no filter, and now I don't have to worry about them. So I couldn't really tell you. If somebody in the chat can help you out, maybe, but I don't use them. John Best says, just got rice fish eggs shipped from Japan and Yazakura Blues. Eggs were sent in a container with methylene blue. The eggs are all very blue in color. Are they still viable? Yeah, so that was the thing about those eggs, and I tried to help this guy on those eggs, and he would not listen to me, okay? because people have their ways of doing things, and science says, they all say, throw them in the methylene blue, ship them that way. I'm like, dude, you have got to just get some dirty mulm, the brown stuff from your filter or sponge, put it in that container instead of that methylene blue. He would have so much better success with it. But it went dead crickets. Like, he was all about, like, I was like, I can help you with this and everything like that, because I mean, I would love to see the rice fish game really get stepped up here in the United States. So I was all aboard on helping that guy, like, really get those around and help push them around and stuff like that. But once I gave him advice on not the methylene blue, it just went crickets. And um now, as far as your eggs, if they're like white and blue, they're not viable. If they're still like dark eyes, you can see they're about to hatch, get them out of that blue water, get them into some clean aquarium water. Catappa leaf could help. Dirtier the tank, the better, because they can eat any of the bad organisms and or funguses that made the little microorganisms, can eat that stuff off the egg, and you could have a chance. But if they're white and then they've kind of turned blue, yeah, I've seen a couple of my orders. They did not come out too well because of that, and he never refunded me or anything. So I wasn't too happy about it, and big reason why I haven't really pushed him much. As much as I wanted to help the guy out, the guy actually had a huge opportunity right in front of his face. And you'd be surprised how that happens with people a lot. It's unfortunate. But if you can't tell, I am not a fan of methylene blue. And so many aquarium keepers I know, especially hardcore aquarium keepers, and even Gary Lang, which sticks his in the his rainbow fish egg, which his is kind of a little different because he really packs them in, but still. I don't know. I think we have moved on to where nature can take care of it, to where we don't need those chemicals for that kind of stuff. The Elamite says, or the Limite says, fish. So I have kept Neos and rice fish together. You won't really get a whole lot of breeding out of each of them. They can live together, the adults at least, and the Neos can breed a little bit if you're giving them a rock pile and stuff. And you may be able to get some eggs if you move the rice fish out later. But normally I do not keep them together, because I'm either just trying to breed the rice fish and get more eggs as possible, which I've got this 20-gallon height back in this lab area that I've got. I just stick those in there for a week or two, and boom, I've got myself like 100 babies at least out of it. Matter of fact, I gotta clean that tank out and do it again. But it's just this like dirty old tank that's got nothing but algae on it, algae growing on the side. And those rice fish absolutely love it. Love it. Okay, scroll. I think I am like way off the chat here too. Like, you guys are it started with a fish. That's a heck of a name. Suffering cyanobacteria in, oh, my camera's dirty, looks smudged. Sarah says, let me see. It is about scratched. I almost gouged right through it. I don't know, probably just the internet. But anyways, it started with the fish suffering cyanobacteria in my planted dirt sand substrate shrimp tank. I've been removing it twice a week for months. It grows back fast. It smells bad. Any water or water quality, good shrimp, happy, any advice? So cyanobacteria is a bacteria. It's not really an algae. So you will need to use something like General Cure to help combat that. And you might have to dose it a couple times, 2 to 3 times. as the instructions say. Oh, excuse me, it's taco night. And that should help take care of your cyanobacteria. If you're just pulling it out, it'll just keep coming back and coming back and coming back because it is a bacteria. So general cure, that'll help you out. API makes it. And snake oil, diamond member, 3 months. Diamond member, that is awesome of you, snake oil. Says Lucas, why would you like to see more rice fish? What are their best features? Are there any cons to rice fish? Any cons of rice fish? I don't know. I don't know if I've ever could think of a con for a rice fish, honestly, because they are very versatile. Matter of fact, I did a video like maybe a year ago from when I first moved here to why rice fish were my new favorite, because they were cleaning up my like new tanks, since I had all these new tanks, and they'd get like this new tank syndrome where they'd either get, since I'm using yard sand, they'll get some biofilm up on the top of the water. They'll clean all that. They clean the plants up for you. They're very personable. They stay up at the top. They're like little water puppies. And feeding them is always fun because they don't go run and hide from you. Like, they're the easiest fish to catch. And there's a lot of different color morphs and variations that are in Japan, to the point that they're more kind of like koi fish over there. So if you don't have space for big koi, the rice fish is like the nano koi over in Japan. And it's actually a big, big, big hobby where there's multiple magazines and stuff on those types. So it's a whole different industry over there, to where we're just barely scratching the surface of it with like our blacks and our oranges and our platinums. And they've got different like tricolor and different types of other like patterns and stuff that have been developed over there. So I would like to see a lot more coming over here. And a lot of it is through people who have chucked that, like, I think it's like $100 pretty much for an order of eggs from over there. So it's not cheap to do it, but there is some people doing it, and it would be nice to see them around more. And the thing about this is, and a big reason why I try to promote more breeders and teach people how to breed fish and actually help make an economy for themselves as well, or an economy within the aquarium hobby, is also the conservation for these fish. Although the rice fish isn't the same kind of conservation, since it's more designer, kind of like a guppy, it's not like rainbow fish would be, to where I now know that like the rainbow fish I was keeping a while ago, like few years ago, I mean, I still have some of them, but the ones that I was really breeding out, I thought that I had like saturated the market. I wouldn't even need to breed them again. I figured I would be able to find them, like the Melanitania goldie-eyed Akai, for instance. And no, nope. One of the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rainbow fish to me personally, and it is so hard to freaking find right now. And there's just so many fish like that. And then with those rice fish, that's a whole market that hasn't even started yet so much in here with this aquarium hobby. So there is a lot of opportunity within this aquarium hobby if you're really trying to make something out of it. And if you're just trying to keep a tank to display, there's a lot of cool varieties that you can be like, well, this is actually this kind of fish that is not normal, that you don't get from Petco. Nothing wrong with well, I'll hold my tongue on that. They get some good fish. Good types of fish, but I mean, they're not always the healthiest, let's be honest. All right, and sorry if I'm missing anybody's question. I think I've been doing pretty good on hitting them. Brandy Rutledge says, are Empire Gudgeons hard to breed? Are they in demand at all? I get my Gungans mixed up. That's the one with like kind of like the blue and orange fin, I think. I'm not really sure. In my opinion, Gungans can be tricky to breed just if you haven't bred them before. Just because the way that they breed within cracks and crevices and stuff like that is a little different. And then I think there's always a demand for certain fish like Empire Gungans. I know they've been in the hobby for quite some time, and they are more um, kind of more streamlined. So I would say that there's a good demand for them to be as available as they have been for so long. Neighbors do have an excavator, or at least their brother. It cost me $500 for it. I just need it for a day. I'm coming in and out here, guys. As a mirror, has it been blurry the whole time? So I don't know. I guess we've got horrible internet tonight. Could just be horrible internet because it just did try to kick me off. I appreciate y'all just hanging out with me though. Even though it may not look the best. You can at least listen to my sweet and simple voice. Fish Stream says temperature range recommendation for rice fish summer and winter. So I would recommend anything really like they can go to freezing and stuff, but really 50 to 100. They're really hard to really worry about temperature with, and they will look like they're happy. Whenever it starts getting like under 50, I would say they start hunkering and hibernating. And as long as ice doesn't ice over and take over, then you're good. Brandy Rattler, some support. Says, I got your Peacock Gungeon email. Have over 100 and growing. Will respond to email. Well, awesome. I will have to check that out, and I will be happy to help. And I think a lot of people will enjoy some Jessica Hussey. Always good to see you around. LRB, what are your thoughts on Scarlet Batis? So Scarlet Batis are cool. They can be kind of like little feisty fish. Really hard to find the females, but not impossible. It used to kind of be impossible back in the day, but now it's easier to find them. The big reason why it was hard to find the female Scarlet Batis is they are the dull color ones. They don't have hardly any color to them. So they weren't really sought after as far as selling. They would want to sell the like blue with the bright red and everything, all the colors on them. So it was mostly males going through the cells. And now you will get some of the females coming through. And they're really not that hard to breed. Once you do get some females, I believe if I remember right, they're kind of like a bubble nester, kind of like the, what are those, sparkling gouramis? Welcome. Well, thank you for being a member. Stillwater says UBQD repeater on wireless bridge 3 on that shed will fix internet for under $100. Thing will start working. And I was right by it, by the window. And I don't know. I'll look into it. Let me take a picture of that because I'm always up for options. My problem right now too is just having money for it. But under $100, I could probably hopefully do that here in a month or so. I don't know. Like every penny is pinched right now. Literally, this is my shit here. See this? I put everything into my aquariums right now. And feeding the family. But we'll see. We definitely need to get the internet better. It's really hard for me to prioritize that stuff as well because the fish are kind of priority right now as well. Is your tap water is 90 TDS? Is that safe for Caridina? You know what? I never really kept them that soft. I never really kept them that soft, so I could not 100% tell you. If anybody has ever kept Caradina in that low temperature, help Stephen Vo out, because I personally cannot tell you from experience. And John Creatures, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, Lucas, how is everything? I had the pleasure, ooh, excuse me, to meet your buddy, the garden eater in Florida. Awesome guy. Well, that is cool. Yeah, he's a great guy. His whole family, all into aquariums. Really, really great family. And glad you were able to meet him. That guy, him and I share very similar passions with having like the full-on aquarium house. Excuse me, God. I'm gonna talk. I ate like 3 tacos and a steak. I won't lie. At least I'm eating good. I do got holes in my shoes, but I am at least eating good. Price on health. It's hard to put. Let's see. What? Keith Lee says, "What's up, bud? I'm considering building a sand waterfall. Those are cool. There are 2 methods I have used online, one with the airstone and the other a powerhead. Any insight would be helpful. Thank you. Cheers." Yeah, the airstone, you get more of the bubbles. The powerhead, I think, looks more natural because it gets more of the flow. So I would definitely go with the powerhead and just have a good micron filter on it. And if you can have the micron filter be bigger, because what will happen is over time it'll get clogged over from detritus, and then the waterfall won't be as strong. So lose kind of like the levels and stuff. So either make it really easy to clean and or bigger filter parts so you won't have to clean it as much or as often. And sorry if I'm missing anybody's chat. Kind of scrolling towards the bottom here since my internet was trying to go off and stuff. Being all weird. Headlock says, what is your photo period? Your water is so clear. So it is around 10 hours right now. It's around 10 hours. I try, which is really pushing it, and it's why I grow a lot of my algae, is because I push it way too long. But I'm in build mode, so I keep it to where I've got more time in here to work without disturbing the fish as much. But if I didn't have that, I would run it more towards a 6 to 8 hour photo period. And I've seen some people, Michael Sizemore, for instance, he was keeping it, he was what is it, Water Forest. I did a tour of his, and he had some of the most beautiful manicured aquascape tanks with some of the rarest stems, just clear, like pristine. And he was only running his for 5 hours. Matt Fish says, I seen lime green endlers on your site. Any breeding trios? No, it's hard for me to do trios because then the ratios just get all bonkers and crazy. And my stock is not thick enough for me selling all my females either. Matter of fact, I'm kind of heavy on the males right now too. I need to be selling reverse trios. I'm not going to do that, but I'll probably offer just male ones at some point, or if anybody just wants the male lime green endlers, because they do make really good display fish. Chuck's Fish, what's up, mother fish keepers? Not a mother, but I am a father. Father fish keepers. All right, well, I am at the bottom of the chat, so if you got the question, you're still in here. I see we got like half as many people in here. Could imagine my quality is still crap, and or y'all getting tired of just listening to me. But I am at the bottom of the chat. Thinks I also have platinum rice fish and I'm struggling with green water. Just went down from 12 hours to 6 hours. Yeah. So 12 hours, that'll definitely help grow some green water. Just be careful when you're killing off that green water. Make sure that you're exchanging it out because it is the same as a decaying plant in your aquarium. So if all that green water does die out, it could start smelling and or funking up your water quality. So keep in mind smaller water changes. Actually, when you do the bigger water changes with the green water, it actually helps feed the green water because of all the atmospheric oxygenation and gases that get back into the water will feed that back. So better off doing the smaller, more frequent water changes with the green water. And Karen Fridas, thank you so much for the $4 super chat. Cheers with a cup of coffee. Appreciate that. Thank you, Karen. Very helpful, yeah. And all right, let's see. Friday night football is taken away from your audience today. Yeah, Friday night football's probably got better TV quality than I do. I used to be into football. I actually used to play football. It was my favorite sport, and I played about every position. I loved it. Defense was my favorite, believe it or not. I was middle linebacker, all that stuff. My favorite though was defensive end and nose guard. That was the funnest because you only have like so many keys. As a linebacker, you got a lot more keys to worry about, but when you only got one or two keys to worry about and you got speed, oh, it was so fun. So fun. Noel Waters says, can you recommend any shrimp breeding texts? Any shrimp breeding text? Like a book? Or just blogs or something? I can't off the top of my head. Of like one, like main, like holy grail of shrimp keeping. Even though ADH Aquatics recently made a shrimp breeding book, keeping book. Um, yeah, I don't know. Not off the top of my head. If anybody else knows and can help Noel, well, I mean, I would be interested as well to hear. And Henry Figueroa, thank you so much for the awesome support. Throwing down the $5 super chat says, would you ever stream on Wednesday again? I always enjoy watching the live streams. So I have been thinking about that, and I have about done it so many times, but there's always something that has inhibited me. So with the projects that I'm into right now, it's just been really hard to get that extra time. But with this plumbing, like the plumbing project is the biggest one that needs to get done right now. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see because sometimes things just open up too, or I'm just like, screw it. Let's just do it. So who knows? It may surprise you. You got to expect the unexpected here. But thanks for asking, Henry. I was actually thinking about that earlier today, like how I'm only on here for like an hour live stream. Oh, I know another reason why is because it was eating up my data and just the quality of my live streams, which hesitates me to do them. But at the same time, I want to make myself more available to you guys because I know not everybody wants to be here on a Friday night to ask their questions, and they may have help on a Monday or they may need help on a Wednesday, like you said. So I would like to make myself more available here in the future, definitely planning on it. And trust me, you guys are going to get so much content out of me after this plumbing bit. And I really get into these tanks. You guys might get tired of me. Nyakark. I don't know if I said that right. But thank you for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. Awesome support. Number one fan. Man, boosting that ego. My ego could definitely use that right now. So I appreciate that. Naya Karak. I don't know how you say that. Naya Nyack Karch. It could go so many ways, but either way, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You need Starlink internet. No, Starlink internet's not strong enough. It is not strong enough. I think they dumbed down my phone and my camera too, because they came out with that new iPhone. I noticed ever since they came out with that new iPhone, which you guys will see in this fish room tour, I kind of got frustrated at it. And, yeah. It has been, I don't know. I'm not ready for an upgrade yet. It's not in the budget, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Linebacker LRV is my hero. It was fun. Outside linebacker is fun too. I don't know what's more fun, middle linebacker or outside linebacker. The kick returns were one of my favorites though. Even whether you're just blocking, it was always fun. Actually played a lot of sports in school. Chuck Fish says, have you on in the background while I do school stuff? Currently in a horticulture class. That's cool. It's neat because I have aquascaping, landscaping, and drafting background already. How's the new place feeling? So that's really cool. And that you got the drafting as well. I actually went to school for design where we did a lot of drafting for architectural, mechanical, engineering, and all that stuff. And with the aquascaping and the landscaping, they're very, very similar. Very similar. And the new place is feeling amazing. I'm loving it now that it's starting to get into order. It's so close to like really coming to these keystone moments, and it's getting exciting. It's getting really exciting. Like I feel like I've climbed more than halfway up the mountain from having to start fresh and doing it all over again. Not many people would have done that at my age. Karen Fridas says, found a oddball Cory, can't find it anywhere. How can I find out what it is? So, oddball Cory, you could try emailing Oddball Aquatics, which is Eric Bodrock. If you Google them up, Oddball Aquatics, or all Oddball Aquatics, Eric Bodrock, Google that name. If you could send him a picture, that dude would know. That dude would know. And if not, he would know somebody who would know. He is the deepest in the Cory game. I would say besides Jerry Jost, which Jerry Jost isn't as easy to get a hold of. Eric, he's awesome. And he'll more than likely answer your email about what kind of Cory that is. That would be the best way to do it instead of trying to look through all the hundreds of pictures and stuff. And or, I don't know, you could watch my Jerry Jost Cory Castle video. You may even come across it in that video. He had like all the rare ones. Once again, sorry if I'm missing anybody's questions. I feel like I'm getting, but just in case, I'm going to apologize anyways. Because I'm just a nice guy like that. And if they say nice guys finish last, well, screw that. I'm still going to be nice. As long as you don't get on my bad side. Brandy Rutledge, and still then, I don't know. It takes a lot to push me. And if so, by the end of it, if you do try to push me, you're just going to end up looking like a jackass yourself. So. Brandy Rutledge says, how is Aquatic Expo and Aquashella in comparison? So Aquashella is like a Aquatic Expo on steroids. So it's like the Aquatic Expo, but a lot bigger. A lot bigger. They're kind of, Aquatic Expo was sort of molded a little bit out of Aquashella as far as like the design. But they still had their differences. And I'm glad to see that there's more aquarium shows happening in different places as well. Because it does suck when, like, there's people all around the US, but then it's only in like 3 different cities. Not everybody can make those trips and or timing, so it is cool to see more of these type of expos and stuff pop up. Abstract Aquarius says, did you hear they discovered over 150 mammals glow in the dark? So I wonder how many of the fish we keep glow. I think I did hear that somewhere where they like actually measure something within them that kind of makes them look like they glow. Or it could just be all that radioactive material they spread around. Who knows? They're discovering new things all the time. Some of it I believe, some of it I don't believe. Artist Lisa Matthews says, can Black Tiger Dario change sex? I have 2 males and 1 female and saw the alpha male spawning with both. You know, I know they do have an alpha beta thing, and sometimes the betas will start looking more like the females, the beta male. But as far as switching, I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you 100%, but I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And maybe he just gets confused by the color of the male, that where that male just blends in, so it's either he dies or blends in with the other female. Could be a weird thing like that too. 'Cause those fish are crazy. And I don't call him Tiger Dario for no reason. But great to see you on here. Chunks Fish says, I remember in your videos you talked about your construction background. It is cool how the hobby's careers can intermingle. The similarities are super helpful at times like building your racks. Yeah, definitely. Between the design and the construction with what I do here, it does all kind of come into a magnus opus, or it's working on it. But definitely the skills help pay the bills. And yeah, I wanted to work construction instead of being in an office working on a computer all day. I'm so glad I went with that. Although it didn't really pay me much and it tore the heck out of me, I learned a plethora from it all. And that nobody can take away. You know, that I'll always have with me. Johnny Best says, I saw your Shrimp Haven setup. What size river rocks you have in your setup? So they're like 1 to 2 inch rock. Riverstone. Lady LRV says, what a nice guy comment. Right? I'm telling you, I'm super sweet like that. Henry Figaro says, can I keep Corydoras with shrimp? So it is tough to keep Corydoras and shrimp together because Corys do like to sift and just nibble on things. Pygmy Cory's a little easier to do than like say green Venezuelan anus or something like that. It is tricky and definitely rock piles would be needed for sure. Like they may not eat some of the big adults, but you definitely will not get babies. They will swoop them up like little vacuum cleaners. Edgar Torres says, does Aquatic Habitat still own business? I don't know. So I guess people have been saying that they can't really get a hold of them. So I'm guessing not. I'm guessing not. There was a guy who messaged me, emailed me not long ago, and got me all excited. He's like, oh, I just built a rack like yours. And I'm like, what? You did? Like, where did you get this? Where did you get the things for him? And he's like, oh, I'm over in the UK. So I was like, ah, oh, that sucks. But I do keep my ears and eyes open for certain, like if there is another place to find those. I mean, I will let you guys know, but I have not yet to find another different place for them. Henry Figure says, is there any kind of fish that you can keep together with shrimp? So it's always tricky and it's always a gamble because they just do mouth. But there's some fish that just have such small mouths that it doesn't really mess with them, like cardinal shrimp or cardinal tetras and I don't know, smaller rasboras and stuff like that that aren't as much of a threat to the babies. It's just the babies are so small and soft when they're first born, and that's why the rock piles are really important so the babies can stick in there. And if you throw like a catappa leaf or a maple leaf or any kind of leaf on top of that rock pile, that also gives the babies a food source that the fish won't tend to like go swim up underneath that unless you've got like that skittish fish that doesn't feel comfortable in a situation and will just go run and hide under there. But anytime with fish and shrimp, it's always a gamble. But not impossible because I've had a 180-gallon boat front with thousands of orange neocaradinas and hundreds of fish, like lace catfish, yay big, rainbows, yay big. You can find that tank in my older videos, LRB 180-gallon boat front, and I did all kinds of different things with that tank. And yeah, you could. So I mean, you can keep them together. It's just how you keep them together. That's the trick. Chuck's Fish says, "LOL. That's the ultimate balance. Is your experience worth your sacrifice? It can be interesting. Thanks for chatting. Back to the grind. So, I come up from the dirt. My experience is definitely worth. I don't know. I want to really consider it a sacrifice anymore. I used to sacrifice myself for suffering and stuff like that just because of like being programmed within this and things that our society torments or dogmas and stuff like that. But I've learned that I don't know, I don't because something there's always a give and take. There's always a yin and yang. So to consider it really sacrificial, I don't know. I wouldn't say I sacrificed anything. I went down my journey. I've learned what I need to learn to come into a collective down the road I needed to. And God been looking out for me for a long time now. And I mean, I've been in some rough situations and places and just trying to survive in this crazy world. Like, I know it's tough for kids whenever they get out of high school and get to college and they start having to, or not even, some kids don't even get to college, but just trying to figure out what to do with their lives, especially within one molded so much through the spelling and broadcast of Hollywood and the ways that we portray our society and its traditions and stuff. It can really grab a hold of people, and it's meant to do that for a reason. Luckily, I've come to find the truths within out of that and get outside of the box. So that's been helpful as well. Um, so yeah. Stay with the grind though, Chuck's Fish, and that's what it's about. Like sometimes that grind is hard as hell, but as they say, you got to go through hell before you get to heaven. And you know, at the end of the day, you get to look back and say, "Hey, I did this. I built this, or we did." If you got a team, and it's it's satisfying. It's definitely satisfying. Yes, John Screecher, I saw that in your super chat earlier. Thank you so much for that super chat. I don't know if it cut off when I was trying to talk to you because I know the internet was about to, but it's awesome you got to meet that family. That family is so awesome. The Garden Eater. Tracy Brunson says, "Is a 470-gallon pond still set up inside your fish room behind you somewhere?" It is. It's right there. You can see it a little bit, but it's still there, and it will be in the fish room tour tomorrow. And it's kind of at the end of it. Abstract Aquarius says, 60-gallon cube, planted tank. Want to do cherry barbs. How many do you think I can get away? In a 60-gallon cube? Oh my god, you could do at least 60 of them. Honestly, if you want to do some rock piles, I'm breeding type of fish. Cherry barbs. I love cherry barbs. Actually, at the old house, oh, I kind of wish I still would have kept my cherry barbs. I had some of the most brightest red ones. I love them. All right. Degar's Aquatic says, what live bears do you keep? I got some rare ones from Mexico. Besides that, I've got just endlers and guppies, I think. Oh, and half beaks. I got the Selby's half beaks and then some rare tiger half beak. And then I've got some platies, and then I've got some mollies too. I think that's all my live bears. I think so. All right. Johnny Bass says, when you're setting up a shrimp tank, what plant would you pick first? You know what? Usually I would go with moss. If I had like a number one choice pick, but recently my guppy grass I've kind of been enjoying with. At first I thought it'd be really hard to like catch them through the guppy grass and everything. They actually come up towards the top, which makes it super easy, like wiggle them out of it and then have a net full. I would say cribs, moss, guppies, pearlweed, those sorts of plants. Anything that breaks up and compartmentalizes more like little spaces for them to cohabitate, which creates more surface area for them, which means more shrimp. Nagari's Aquatic says, what you have from Mexico? Honestly, I cannot pronounce the name. It's some crazy name. It's actually, they're not ones you just normally find either, so they're like really rare ones. And I do not know how to pronounce the name. And I couldn't tell you how to write it right now. Like, I should work with myself on trying to be able to tell you what kind they are one day. One day I'll sit down and learn how to really say that name and keep it in my brain. There's a lot of things that go on in my head. Degari's Aquatic says, which ones do you breed? So all those are breeding. All those live bears are breeding. All of them. Swordtails, tanks. I don't like to keep them in smaller tanks. You need space if you're really going to breed out a bunch. But that's awesome. We need people keeping and breeding all those types of rainbow fish and stuff being hard to find, like ones that I thought I saturated the market with and that I would be able to get again. Sometimes there is also some guppy strains and stuff. Same situation. And a lot of those goodeids I know are care species. Catamaco library. It's like forces Millerite. No. It's like starts with an X, and it's not Zyphor fist. As far as the place that they come from, it's like XH, some crazy Mexican name, and it's long, super long. That's why it makes it hard to remember. Little Mountain Life says, okay, is this nuts? 125 gallon, 60 long display, 2 discus, 10 Antijo rainbow fish, 25 black neon tetras, 3 geophagus tapajos, and a bristlenose placo, heavily planted with weekly water changes. I mean, that seems like a pretty good stocking. Actually, yeah. I mean, honestly, you might be able to fit a couple more fish in there. If you got yeah, even without a filter, you could do. Well, I don't know. I haven't really tested the geophagus much with the no filter. All the other fish I have, Geophagus I have not, but in my experience, I don't think it would be an issue. Which of my livebearers has the biggest colony? So a lot of my livebearers right now are kind of fresh growing, but I would say my black molly and lime green antlers, they're in a 75, and there's just a ton of them. But then some of my newer guppies are just throwing crazy amounts of babies. So a lot of them. Henry Firgo says, are you getting any new aquarium plants? Yes, I do have some in quarantine. I'm waiting to get more organized until I start organizing more new aquarium plants and stuff. Oh, you're all right, John. I'm glad you mentioned that. That way I could address it. All right. How big are your largest mollies? About yay big, I would say 3-4 inches. Black mollies. I'm line breeding. I line breed. Eventually, I'll have more mutts. I did a lot of mutts at the old house, which I wish I had a lot of them still, because there was some crazy. I had put all those fancy lines together, and they had a couple in a 180-gallon pond, and there was some crazy fish in there. They're still there, I think. I just don't have them because somebody else does now. Yeah, they're the big black. Those mollies are huge, and they are popping crazy babies out, like crazy amount of babies. And the same with the coral blue platies too. But all right, it's well over an hour here. I'm gonna hop off here, and I gotta start. I still gotta do the thumbnail for the tour video, but that will be out tonight, or not tonight, but tomorrow for all you guys. One last question. Nagari's Aquatic says, are they in any of your videos? Yes, so in the fish room tour video tomorrow, all those fish will be in there. So you guys will see everything, all the fish, all the tanks tomorrow in the fish room. So yeah, check it out tomorrow. And I will see you guys till next time. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Enjoy your tanks. Live your life. And enjoy. Peace. Have a great one. Da 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 da.